Awesome, guys. Welcome back to another video. I have Adam Andriski here, and wanted to just make this video just so we can talk about, AI. There's a lot of noise circulating around, like, AI, modern go-to-market, cold email deliverability, all that stuff. And Adam is an expert in this topic, so I wanted to kind of bring him on, give him want to hear his perspective. But Adam, definitely don't want to intro you too much, but feel free to intro yourself.
Thanks, Stephanie. Very, very flattering. There's people who have been doing this longer than I am, or I have. But anyways, I'm Adam. I've been running Stellar Growth for about 2 years now. The first year we were running it, we were pretty much just like a cold email lead generation agency. And the second year, we pivoted to do more GTM, RevOps, streaming Clay workflows, which is pretty much mainly what we're doing right now. Although we do have a few full outbound end-to-end type clients, and we do project work and all that kinds of stuff. So heavily involved in the Clay GTM RevOps on a day-to-day basis. So
Awesome. Yeah. Adam, I don't know if I told you this, but I actually found out about you through LinkedIn,
mm,
when I was starting my agency. And just to give you guys a background, I do my own go-to-market agency as well, where I use Clay, Smartlead, all these tools to like help companies with go-to-market. But I found out about you. I obviously like looked at a bunch of your LinkedIn content and definitely helped me a lot. But I'm curious to know kind of like your backstory. Like, how did you end up in this world? I know I had a like pivotal moment where I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, but curious
yeah,
what yours is.
yeah. There's no real pivotal moment. It was like, most people expect like that you plan for months and months, and you're like, okay, I'm saving enough for my job, from my job, to do this thing. But really, what happened is like I had been freelancing for a while. I wasn't working many hours. The work was pretty droll or dull, and there was not much excitement going on. And just to give you some context, I was doing copywriting before I started doing like outbound and things like that. So I got sick of my bosses and my clients, and I wasn't making much money. And this had kind of dragged on for maybe a month or two. And I just one day I saw it was like a Reddit post, and someone was saying like documenting my journey day one, cold email agency, right? And I opened that thread and I thought, wow, that's really cool. I've really not done a lot of cold email copywriting. It seems pretty casual and like anybody could do it. And then I ended up joining a mastermind from that. I looked into a couple of masterminds. One of the specific ones that was mentioned in that Reddit post was Levi Arola's agency velocity. So
Mm.
like highly recommend it, but it's probably not the focus of today's talk. It got me up to where I needed to be for sure. And then Clay Bootcamp was my next the group I joined that kind of got things up and running really quickly. So
Nice, nice.
anyways, that's like it wasn't one specific decision, but I had never really owned a business before this, so this was like a huge learning phase. There was like a year of learning and not much doing, and I
Yeah,
should relate to that. Yeah.
yeah, I could definitely relate there. I don't know if I told you, I used to work at HubSpot. I was a BDR there, top performing BDR and an account executive. But problem I noticed was like even like being at a company like HubSpot, like you would expect them to have a lot of like automations built into place for their sales reps, but there
Yeah.
definitely wasn't. There's a lot of manual work, so it was kind of like the pain I had to endure. And I was like, okay, I have to solve this for clients. I have to do a better job myself. So that's kind of why I
Yeah.
started the agency. Then
That's
obviously like learning about Clay was like, an immediate kind of no-brainer. Kind of blew my mind when I first found out about it, but
yeah.
that's kind of how I came about it. But
Yeah.
in terms of like right now, like we're kind of going to like the second half of 2025. What do you guys like see that's kind of like turning? Like, I'll share a little bit about what I'm seeing like kind of happening right now is like, obviously like email deliverability is like at an all-time low. I think you actually put out a LinkedIn post recently where you're talking about like how the way you're getting into like Outlook inboxes is writing emails purely by AI. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just kind of paraphrasing
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Can you touch on that a little bit? I'm curious to like hear from
Yeah,
you.
man, there's so much sauce that goes into the email deliverability side of things. When we started, we were literally hand setting up each inbox like one at a time. I can't like imagine doing that again these days. Thankfully, there's a lot of good resellers that it makes absolutely no sense for me to set things up. But as far as like are the main ingredients to a good Outlook deliverability system, I think probably number one would be like sequencer IP. I can't speak for everybody, But the reason why I don't have a bunch of shiny plaques from a bunch of sequencing companies like Smartlead is because I freaking switch when I notice things getting worse. I just immediately jump off the ship. So that's what I did. I switched to Email Bison, which I think I can publicly say now. They don't take anybody or not everybody into the program, but Email Bison, I'd say probably the number one reason for why we're doing better on deliverability. There's also more visibility inside of Email Bison for that kind of thing. And then number two reason would probably be like the type of email inboxes we're using. We're using scaled mail. We've used stuff like premium inboxes, which is really good in the past. What other ones are there? Like the main ones are premium inboxes and scaled mail for me right now. I know there's a ton and ton of competition out there and people basically doing the same thing, but scaled mail works. Like, right, I'm not, if it's broken, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And the number three would be copywriting. So yeah, we're using AI inside of Clay to pretty much curate a totally unique email for every single prospect. That's not always the case. We still send
Yeah.
templates. It's industry dependent, but we're really like on the ball with the AI email copywriting at this point. So I'm sure you've been experimenting with that recently too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Are you mainly doing that for Outlook inboxes or just like Google as well?
We do it for everything gets the same treatment. Our Google
Nice.
inboxes will send to Outlook, our Outlook inboxes will send to Google. We'll write, AI emails for everybody, no matter what um, they're sending in or their side of things is. We do the same thing for everybody, and
Yeah.
it works out fine. So that might change. Like this industry is insane. Like things change on a day-to-day basis. I might not be super happy in like a month or two. It changes so frequently. But the good thing is that I invested a lot of time and money into getting this right. And then all of a sudden it was just better, and it was like such a breath of relief. That was probably like a month or two ago. For like October, November, December, January. Oh man, I was like really thinking about pivoting the business because the deliverability was so bad.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Dean from Scale Mail was talking about this as well, like where he was saying like he's seen where like if you're sending like cold emails, everything was written by AI. But obviously like it doesn't look like it's written by AI. It's very personal, but like those tend to deliver way more. So
Yep.
I actually haven't tried that too much. I'm still like
Yeah.
a big template stuff. But I imagine like with the correct prompts, you can definitely get that. Maybe we'll do like another video just to kind of go over the prompts and stuff. But
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so much
uh,
into it, and we've invested like way more money than I expected to fix this problem. So I think one of the other things that I forgot to mention too, that's a big reason we do double spam checks. Like I spam check, I check the email for spam words, I rewrite the email without those words, I double check again to see if the AI wrote any new spam words in there. And then finally, hopefully at that point, the email is good to send. So that's like a pretty insane thing that we're doing with Email Guard, which is a similar company or owned by the same people as Email Bison. So
yeah, that's cool. I'll give it a shot. Honestly,
yeah, it's awesome, man.
I don't use Scale Mail. I use cheap inboxes.
Yeah, cheap inbox is good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to give Scale Mail a shot soon. But yeah, that's I mean, email is like one of those topics where it's
Yes.
like kind of figure it out every single day.
Yeah.
We don't really like know, so like that's kind of what we're trying to figure out at scale. But
Yeah.
in terms of, so I know like I think Eric Noskowski like put out a doc recently where or he wasn't recent, it was like a
Yeah.
few months ago where he was talking about like what type of personalizations are hitting home
Yeah.
in like modern, I think it was like 2024 at the time, but now we're 2025. But I'll tell you like what he said, and I definitely agree with this. He said like social signals are one of the biggest one, and obviously like there's tools out there that track social
Yeah.
signals. So what are you seeing that's working? Personally, I'll tell you this. What I've seen in terms of like social signals is people engaging on LinkedIn, sort of like LinkedIn comments, LinkedIn posts. I think that drives
Yeah.
a lot of engagement, just because it's something that that person did on their own end, and you're kind of commenting on versus, and it's way more personal versus
Yeah.
like let's say you're saying, "Hey, I saw you guys got funding." That's more of a company-wide personalization. So
Sure.
I'm thinking a lot about like sort of like how
Yeah.
we can be relevant but also personalized, kind of in that unique bucket. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah. It's a really tough challenge. I think that there there are a couple signals that I think I've seen really work, and there's a couple that I'm trying right now that are not working that I can talk about, and they're probably not working because of copywriting, not because of the signal.
Mm,
The other thing is that doing outreach is like if the signal is like relatively easy to monitor and pretty uniform over the industry. Like there's probably like 10 other dudes at minimum right now sending the same exact email that you're sending unless you get clever about it. So like you imagine like funding news for SaaS companies, which is like one of the Clay workflows that I want to show today. Like I was just thinking this table is not really working, but it's probably not working for the reason that these guys are getting slammed by maybe like 100 other people who have Clay using the same exact type idea that I'm doing. So
Yeah.
there's signals that are like pretty timeless, like job changes and job hires. Like we've experimented on those with clients and seen pretty good results. Like I've sold a client when I basically found that he had just switched a job. Like I went to go look at his LinkedIn profile and I found like, oh, he's not at the company I thought he was. He's at a new company. I'm just going to go send him a DM. And so I know for sure that those signals work really well. Obviously, there's so many Clay playbooks you can run. Another one that I wasn't utilizing before that's really good is like your own post likes and comments if you have a sizable number of them. Like I'd say that this type of play is only really useful once you get to like at least 1,000 connections and you're getting posts with like 100 comments or 100 likes on them. Otherwise, like you can probably do this manually and it'll be the same amount of time saved. So
Yeah. So
those are
definitely.
some good ones. I'm probably missing a million of them because there's so many, but yeah,
On the like new hire play, I think that's one of the like best ones. It's like it's been around forever, but it still like works. It's
yeah,
kind of like one of those like easy things to pull, but like sometimes like people just like hearing that like they got started a new company and they like hearing about it. So
yeah,
what I used to do, I still do sometimes, but I used to do at HubSpot was if there's a company that or just hire like a new VP of marketing, I used to go look at who that VP of marketing was, congratulate them on their new role, but also look at the previous company, see kind of like what they had in place, like what type of tech stack, what kind of things they had it, and then just kind of like regurgitate that into my email and say, hey, it's
yeah.
like you guys had some stuff going on over there at your previous company, or you're like looking to do the same thing over here. Like
That's a
that
great
kind
one.
of
Yeah,
like a new layer of relevancy versus just saying like, hey, congrats on a new gig, want to buy my stuff? Like, that just
yeah,
comes across. But I think on the social signal side, what I've seen like works is like if you're talking about like someone that commented or like liked or put out a LinkedIn post about a
yeah,
certain topic, that's very unique because not everyone could get that signal, or it's
yeah.
not always a comment. So you're kind of like it's kind of you're waiting. It's kind of a waiting game to like see who comments if you're tracking like champions, but like or but like also it's hard to pinpoint
It's a
at a
tough one,
certain
man.
time when
Yeah,
someone commented or like and then mention that or like you know what I mean. So
I have not gotten that play to work yet, like the monitoring for
yeah,
keywords and stuff like that. Especially for outbound, it's really tough. Like if you want to do clay as a keyword, number one, you're going to get a bunch of people who are like into clay as like an artistic hobby.
yeah,
And I've tried it. I've not been able to find any useful keywords related to my own business other than like, is clay worth it? Is like a pretty good one. And for clients, it's the same thing. It's really hard to filter through like all the crap on LinkedIn that you see in the, Triggerfy is supposed to be pretty good for it. I haven't really used it a lot. And another good company is Quatch.io. And that's for like, I think these are more useful for our clients than us personally. I think that Clay and the space is such a hard trigger to monitor for. So like anyone talking about the space, there's like a million types of keywords that could work, and not any single one of them really means anything on its own. So I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, what are your thoughts on like sort of MCPs and like that whole space? I don't
Yeah,
know, kind of dived into it, but there's a lot of people like shout out to Jordan Crawford that talks about it all the time. But like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, like I'm not probably not the best person to ask about this because I'm not as deep into it. I think by MCPs, but people basically mean like Clay, or sorry, not Clay, I got Clay on the brain. ChatGPT operator and MCPs within Claude or within Anthropic or Claude or whatever you want, or Manus. I think those are what MCPs are, but I'm not
Mhm.
like the person. Like basically what I think you can do is like you can automate not only or you can basically ask a question and you can automate a process at the same time, which is something that I haven't really explored much lately.
The
Um,
the
yeah,
idea that I've seen is like sort of like you kind of talk into Claude or like you tell it to do something and
yeah,
it does that action in Clay or it does that
yeah,
action
yeah,
in CRM. So like that's kind of mind blowing because think about it. Like you're like, hey, go build a Clay table for me that does X, Y, Z, and it'll just do that. Like that's wild. To think about,
yeah. It's
right?
pretty insane.
Yeah, like so
Yeah,
that's my understanding of it, but I don't know.
along those lines, like I haven't really explored this much because there's like there's very few situations in which like I think that it can do better than I can when it comes to something. And I think that's rapidly changing. Like that might be not true anymore since like yesterday. But I have also heard of things like Exa.ai, which is like a lead sourcing platform that lets you I actually did a demo with them like a month ago. You can basically type in the list that you want and it'll like go find it for you and it'll show you the columns that it used to
Yeah.
research criteria. It pulls really good lists, and the other tool is like Manus, which I think we talked about. It's just like a simple, like I've had to build me lists before and things like that. I have not used any of these for Clay or inside Clay yet, but I do
Yeah.
pay for ChatGPT Operator. I just haven't been using it much. And one of my employees might start using it soon. I should probably get them on it, but sometimes it's a little different because I'm not directly in the day-to-day fulfillment for like simple Clay tables. So.
Definitely. Yeah. Speaking of clay tables, do you have a clay table you want to kind of walk through?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
oh,
I was going to just go over the funding news, and I know I said it didn't work, but I think that funding news is like a pretty evergreen signal. The one thing you should know, and it's pretty important, is do not say congratulations on your funding. Or sometimes it doesn't make sense to like reference the exact trigger while I'm sharing this, to reference the exact trigger that you used in finding them, right? Like I think that's pretty elementary. I've literally seen people share templates online where they like there I can see in the text box there's congratulations on your promotion. Do not send that email. Nobody will take that email seriously unless it's a really small company or something. And the other one is like when you have a website visitors signal, someone comes on your website, do not say like, hey, I saw you on my website like 33 minutes ago. Like that is just horrible. I can't believe people are still doing that. I hope I'm not insulting anyone, but anyways, I'm gonna go quickly into this clay table. Hopefully I can get through it in like 5 minutes. But so yeah, really cool thing. You don't always need RSS for this, but this was my Clay Expert idea that I've iterated on and made better. So what you do is you have an RSS feed. You can find a free one from Google, or like I did, you can pay for what is it, RSS.app, and
yep.
you can make your own RSS feed. I won't go too into how to do that.
That's
Basically,
free, I
what
think.
yeah,
I've done it before, yeah.
yeah. Clay will let you import RSS feeds for free, but I built an RSS feed so I could control the timing and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, anyways, specifically for this table, I decided to just look at a website which is the SaaSnews.com, and what the SaaSnews.com is it's basically a filtered version of FinSMEs.com. I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but
I have.
it's like all the kind of finance and funding news for startups. So if you want to, you can just use this page and filter for what you want. I just decided to pull from the SaaSnews.com because it was easier, but there's lots of options there. Any kind of news you want to watch. For some clients, will literally follow like one magazine and just look for mentions of their brand or competitors and things like that. So, anyways, without getting too much into that stuff, we scrape the article from the page to find what the company name is. Then, if they don't have a website on that article, we find it. We validate the domain because sometimes AI is hallucinating. Sometimes even the article has a domain wrong, and we pull in another website if it was wrong. So check to make sure the company's qualified. I think basically for me, what that means is just get rid of this. And yeah, so basically must be a B2B company, website is in English. So that was like the super simple qualification since SaaS company is already kind of the big filter for working with us, and I can deal with the rest of the stuff later. So we pull in all this data like the funding round that they're going through. We've matched them to a LinkedIn URL using AI. I want to make that distinction here. Like using AI to find LinkedIn is so much cheaper than spending like, at least for myself, it's so much cheaper than using a credit. I pay like 1 cent per credit, and I'm paying here like I'm paying 10 times less basically to find a
Yeah.
LinkedIn page. So
Can
I
I
think,
see that prompt one more time of the LinkedIn page
yeah, of
URL?
course.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
first to find that LinkedIn, right? I think that's what you
Yeah,
said.
I can share this too.
Nice.
Basically, it's the simplest prompt possible. Find a LinkedIn page for website, which is company name. And then if there's contact info, I had it just double check the person's LinkedIn page in case it wasn't sure. So
Nice.
so yeah, this is actually finding the company LinkedIn page. So
Yep.
just wanted to make that clear. And then in the end, we also did find decision makers. And so this is a really cool part of this workflow is that we use, I posted on this LinkedIn on this recently. We scrape the LinkedIn company people page to find the top 5 decision makers for us. So sales, marketing, RevOps, and things like that. And AI is actually quite good at pulling static information like it is on that people page. I don't know in the future they might block AI from scraping that page, but for now it's pretty sick. It's like an almost free way to have like Sales Navigator to a better version of Clay's
Yeah,
Find People at Company. So that's what we're doing. Obviously, we can share that prompt if you guys are interested too. It's also on my LinkedIn profile somewhere.
awesome.
So next really cool idea is that I ask AI like, hey, identify some outbound campaigns or unique data sources. And I got this inspiration from Jordan Crawford, who you're aware of. I'm pretty sure everybody is at this point. Like to provide, basically the goal is to provide immediate value in the email and like start suggesting a project that we could run for them. So there's some random ideas here, like it's coming up with AFTRA AI policy updates. I think it's like the Actors Guild, and then use that to run campaigns. There's so many other ideas here. Track FDA oncology drug approvals, and I build these up and I suggest these in the email to the prospects themselves. For now, though, just to wrap this up, we write those contacts that I found from LinkedIn to another table, and this is where like we tie things together. You can see the kind of data that we pulled if Clay ever loads. It might
That's
not.
cool. Well, one thing I didn't like, I've, uh, I don't know if like you've seen this too, but like whenever I'm trying to find like a LinkedIn profile, uh, using like Clayagent, sometimes it brings a wrong LinkedIn profile. How do you verify if it's the actual like one that you're looking for?
Yeah, generally what I have in most of my tables, especially for clients, is like I have a double check. I have like make sure I tell it to visit you know, that this page and check their first job experience to make sure that this is actually the right person or something like that.
Okay.
I don't have it in this table, but I probably should.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
it's a good
also,
idea to
like
double check.
when you get the email, like it'll verify all like all because you have the domain in the first place. You got the name in the first
Yeah,
place.
yeah, that's a good way to do things.
Email.
Match the email to the domain, make sure you have the right person.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it's weird. I like frequently forget to add that to my clay tables. That like my clay tables are getting increasingly complex as we'll see like in the future. Like I have
Yeah.
these spam checks now, and I have this email Bison API upload, and I have all these double checks, and I occasionally forget one or two. So,
That's that's
but
awesome.
to finish this out, I do a pretty basic role suitability check, which basically just checks, hey, what is their role? Is it good? Is it bad? Um, I think in my case, right, like it's pretty obvious who I want to talk to, like SVPs, co-founders, and then I just give it which areas do I not want to focus on if there was a location found for the lead. So now that we have their LinkedIn profile and all that good stuff, you can find an email. I put all these ideas out here. I double check to make sure there's not a link in my email suggestions so that I don't get nabbed by AI. And then we do a spam check. We identify the spam words. Like I said, we rewrite the entire email using Claude, which is really good for that kind of thing. And then we upload it to our campaign. So this is a streaming table that will every single day it will pull in new leads from companies that just got funding, and it will send emails to them. And so if we look at some of the examples of the emails, like couldn't find these were filtered out companies that they do not have GTM leadership. So if you're looking for some quick wins and pipeline for the future, you can implement Clay data triggers. Here's some ideas, blah, blah, blah. Could I send over a short vid and how we've helped other companies? The usual kind of fare. Nothing too creative there. I guess the creative part is like suggesting Clay workflows that they can use, which um, that this specific emailed idea is not working, but a shorter version of this is working pretty well in my own outbound. So
Nice. Nice. That's
yeah, I know
awesome.
it took me longer than I thought, but we made it to the end of it. Obviously, it's tough to do Clay demos, but I'm probably getting, I think, at least 10 leads per day from this and just sending 10 emails out. And I have like probably 10 or 20 other streaming table examples like this, and they're all just constantly booking me meetings, which is really sick.
Okay. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I have. Do you have a hard stop by the way in 3 minutes?
we're good. We can keep going a little longer.
Cool.
Let me check actually. Double
Yeah,
check.
go ahead.
sometimes I don't know. Okay, I do have a discovery call after this,
Okay,
unfortunately.
cool. But awesome, yeah. I know we can just kind of wrap things up, but I know in the 2 minutes that we have, but what's beyond besides Clay, what's your favorite AI tool right now? Just a rapid fire.
Shoot, that's a tough one. Like I said, Exa.ai, I think it's a really cool one.
Okay.
Another one is Leverly.ai, or sorry, Leverly.com. It's not .ai. It's like this inbound lead interceptor that, like, when you get a phone call, like it just answers the phone for you and qualifies them and stuff, which is really sick. So
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, we had a problem in house with like not getting back to calls within 15 minutes, which is mostly my own KPI. So I'm glad to
Yeah.
have some AI help and try new things.
Yeah, I would say X is pretty cool too.
Yeah,
I want to try a little bit more. On
yeah.
the on that note, what's one automation tip for go to market now? Just give us like one quick tip. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I mean,
Everyone can use.
organization is a big one. I know it's not directly related to automation.
Yeah.
Uh, are you looking for like a specific example? Maybe I'm not giving a perfect
Whatever,
example.
whatever you want, whatever you want. Just one
Yeah, I
automation.
mean, the one automation tip would be don't automate everything. Sometimes formulas do the trick, right? So
Yeah.
try and see if you can build it with a formula first in Clay or whatever you're using, and then only use AI as a last resort, or if you really need it. Although AI is so cheap these days, heck, go ahead, use it.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. Well, I
I mean,
appreciate it, Adam. I know we're kind of coming up on time. Where can people find you if they want to look
yeah.
for you?
Adam at stellargrowth.ai, stellargrowth.ai, the website, or linkedin.com/in/Adam Andrzejewski.
Awesome. Well, awesome, Adam. We should
I mean,
definitely do this again. This was awesome. But yeah,
thanks,
hopefully you
man.
guys enjoyed this video. Let us know if you have any questions. I'll be linking some of my information down below. And if you guys want to check out some more content, I'll be putting that out as well on my channel. But thanks, guys.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks, Devine.